Loud.
All right, so good evening, everyone. This is the Needham Board of Zoning Appeals. As you probably heard, we're being recorded and broadcast on the cable news, so be careful what you say and do. I always say if we somehow lose the internet so that we don't have to renotice the hearings, they're continued for a month, but we've gotten through a couple of years and always been able to finish our meetings. So we have two matters on tonight, but the first thing we have to deal with are the minutes of last month's meeting. Unless there's a proposed amendment, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I second John's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, so our first case is 12 Clark Road. Nick Landry, applicant, applied to the Board of Appeals for a special permit under section 6.1.2 and any other applicable sections of the bylaw to allow one additional garage on the lot. The request is associated with the new construction of a 4-bay garage with parking and fitness on the first floor and storage on the second floor. Property is located at 12 Clark Road in the single residence A district. On this, I see Mr. Grimes. Are you presenting this, or who's going to explain?
How about I will. I'm Nick Landry, the architect.
Okay, welcome.
Good evening. Can I share my screen?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the existing plot plan. This is Clark Road right here. This is the house, and there's an existing 3-car garage right here where we're looking to add an additional bay. This is the proposed design. Again, it's in the same location. It gets a little bit longer and a little bit deeper, but it's still shielded from both Forest Street and Clark Road by trees and or a fence. And it's shielded.
A quick question,
shielded.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
There's an existing 3 and you're adding a 4th bay?
correct.
Thank you.
Well, I
And-
think they're proposing to demolish the existing and build a new one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's a 3-bay garage now in this same location right here. And I think it's more cost effective to knock this down and just and build a new one than try to add on to the existing structure. It's going to be of the same design and the same architecture and the same aesthetic. The design intent for it is to minimize the garage on the site. We don't want to take away from the architecture of the house. And any lighting that we'll be using will all be dark sky compliant. We plan on having some sconces on the front of the garage between the doors. We get into the floor plan. So the first level, today there's a garage that comes to right about here. We're looking to add this additional piece. It's the existing garage is currently connected to this outbuilding. The new garage will also be connected to that via a roof. There's going to be a small fitness area on the first floor toward the back. And then up on the second level, we're going to have an open area for some storage. And then we're proposing a half bathroom up there. So from the front of, so this garage is sited so that it's perpendicular to the street, so you won't see this elevation as you come down the street. The street is right here, so we're not showing the trees in this view to kind of give you a better idea of the whole complex of the whole house and garage. But this entire area here is shaded with trees, and you can see that from this street view. So this is right as you turn onto Clark Road. This is the existing garage today. The house starts over here and goes this way. You can kind of get a glimpse of a couple of the garage doors. Our garage will be in the same location. This wall right here is just going to move 10 feet down this way. So that last door will still be blocked from the road. That's another view from in front of the house. You can see, again, it's still going to be hidden by some trees over here. We also have letters of support from the neighbors that are directly across the street that would be able to see this. I think you may already have those. And in the garage is also going to be, the peak of the garage will be lower than the main peak of the existing house. Again, just trying to minimize the design of the garage in the feel of the garage.
Thank you. Just to record what the various town bodies have said, the planning board had no comment. The building commissioner said he had no issues with the special permit. The Public Works points out that when you apply for a building permit, you need to comply with the drainage requirements and need them collect the water off the roof in some way. The health department notes that you need to file for a demolition permit. And then we have 2 letters from Jenny Keeter and Rick Liederman, neighbors that are in support of this. Are there any questions from the members of the board?
Yeah,
That
I
was a very, very
I have one
graphic
question.
presentation.
Oh, you want to go
Thank you.
first? All right, so we received revised plans the other day, or maybe even today, dated 11/9. Can you just tell us what are the changes in those plans from the ones that were submitted with the application on September 27th?
The major change with those was the addition of this connection between the garage and the existing shed to connect it to an existing outbuilding.
Got it.
Was that something the building inspector had suggested?
Yeah, I think that by doing that, we can, we don't need to put in the entire drainage system. I think that was and there was already a roof there today. I think it makes sense to keep that connection between that shed and the garage.
No, I was just saying that I love this graphic presentation, the pictures, the up close, nice job. It's made it very clear.
Good.
Any other questions from the board? Do we have anyone from the public who wants to be heard?
Let's see. There are no hands raised among those that are attending.
All right, so someone want to make a motion?
Nick, could you turn off your screen share, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to make a motion that the applicant's request for special permit under section 1.12 to allow one additional garage space on the lot, and the request is associated with the new construction of a 4-car garage with parking and fitness on each of the floors and storage on the second floor. The property is located at the 12 Clark Road, Needham, Mass, in the single residence A district. And I suppose that it's important to be compliant with the drainage and demo permit requirements of the town.
And no light spillage onto neighbors'
Oh, right,
property.
right, right. And that consistent with the section 612 to have no spillage of any light onto the neighbor's property.
Second that, Mr. Tamkin?
I just wanted to comment since we really didn't deliberate. So I just wanted to say, beautiful presentation. Looks like a beautiful house. I think the proposed 4-bay fits in nicely. And I always say this in recent years, thank you for coming to us for permission before you did the work. So on that vein, I will second the motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Congratulations. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Aye.
Night.
All right, so the second matter on for tonight is 69 High Street. Eric Carr, owner, applied to the Board of Appeals for a special permit under sections 1.4.6, 3.2.1, and 3.15, and any other applicable sections of the bylaw to allow the addition of an accessory dwelling unit to a pre-existing non-conforming structure. property is located at 69 High Street in the Single Residence B District. And on this, I think we have Mr. Junta. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. George Junta Jr. appearing on behalf of the applicant, Eric Carr, who's on this evening. Mr. Carr lives at the property. He's lived there since 2011 with his wife and 5 kids. And as indicated in the introductory comment from the chair, this is an application really for an accessory dwelling unit off the side of the house or off the southerly end of the house. As a part of that, because the house is non-conforming, it also requires a special permit to alter a non-conforming structure. So the property is located at the corner of High Street and Burnside. It is parcel 47 on Assessor's Map 64. It contains 10,204 square feet of area with 82 feet of frontage on High Street and 118 plus feet of frontage on Burnside. The lot therefore conforms, and the lot was created as of 1949, well before the lot width, although it complies with that as well. So there's no issue with the lot. The lot is improved with a single family structure that is 2.5 stories high throughout most of it. Then it's also 1 story high in the back end, the southerly end. The house is built either in 1888 or 1907. It's interesting, the assessor's records actually give 2 different dates. The old field card, which was established sometime in the early to mid 1940s, says 1888, but the data on the computer system, the current system, says 1907. I have no idea, why the change. Usually we see the same date or within a couple of years, but in any event, it predates zoning no matter what the actual correct year was. The house was then altered and extended in 1983 and in 1984. And in fact, some of the work that was done in the 80s is part of why we have this issue with the non-conforming setback. So on the southerly end of the house, this is the side opposite High Street, or if you're looking at the house from Burnside, it would be the right side from Burnside, the back end of the house from High Street. That end of the house originally was a garage. And there's a photo from 1949 from the adjacent property that seems to show the garage in the exact location where it is today. There's also a plot plan from 1949 that shows the garage on the adjacent lot when the lot was divided. So it appears that when the lot was divided, the garage was likely moved over to the house. Now, what isn't clear is if the garage was attached at that point, and if it was not, when it was attached. However, we do have photographic evidence through the photo from the assessor's department from 1985 that clearly shows it attached. And then it's basically been attached ever since. There's a Google image that I provided from 2011, shows it attached. So we know at least as of 1985, it was attached. So I did a little digging on this point, and I did speak with the owner from 1978 through 1988, I believe it was, and she basically told me that they made the attachment, that when they moved in the house, the garage was there, and they had a contractor who was doing some other work make the attachment. I spoke with the contractor, and he confirmed it. Now, this is a little interesting, although somewhat immaterial. But it's interesting to note that there was work done with a permit, and it looks like the attachment to the garage was done without a permit. And I mention this because I think you have a copy of a letter that the building inspector sent in the 80s to the Godsills, basically talking about some non-conforming work in a part of the property. And it's not clear if they were referring to this part, but I believe that may be where he's referring to. And I say that this is immaterial because the change in 2016 to Mass General Law 40A Section 7 basically protects non-conforming structures, whether they were done with a permit or without a permit. So when we get to that part of the analysis, I'll emphasize that how it came into existence is somewhat irrelevant and immaterial, but I did want to mention it because I know, the question comes up in your head, how did this happen? So this garage, it was a garage, and then it was converted into living space. And basically since the 80s, it's been living space for the house. It's been like a family room, additional living space And if you look at it today, you'll see a series of windows where in 1949 there was a garage door facing Burnside. Now, there are a series of renovations that the Carrs want to do to the house. Most of those renovations don't require any zoning relief or review. However, the changes to the southerly end of the house do. Because the southerly end of the house is currently located only 5.2 feet from the lot line, and because they want to go up and basically in practice add a second story, they need a special permit for the alteration and extension of a non-conforming structure. In addition, there's another small, just sort of small little corner of the addition they want to do that is set back 9.4 feet from that same southerly boundary. So as a part of the special permit, they also need relief there. And lastly, they obviously need a special permit for the accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. Now, let me discuss the ADU first, because that's pretty straightforward. The ADU consists of 849 square feet of space on 2 floors. So it complies with the maximum square footage requirement for ADUs. It contains a kitchenette, a full bath, and 2 sort of open areas. One is a sitting or living area, and the other is a sleeping area for bed. It has access to the principal unit or principal part of the house in 2 places. First, through a door at the end of a hallway on the Burnside side of the house, and second, on the second floor through a door and a hallway on the southerly end of the house. There's also an exterior door to provide direct ingress and egress to the outside on the southerly end of the house. So the unit itself complies with all of the requirements and limitations in the ADU provisions, and therefore meets the criteria and is able to be approved. With respect to the special permit for the alteration, as mentioned, in 2016, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 7 was revised to specifically provide protection for non-conforming structures, no matter how they had been placed, constructed, or built. So even without a building permit, if a house is built and it's there for at least 10 years without action on the part of the town, it achieves lawful pre-existing non-conforming status and is explicitly subject to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6. By extension, it is therefore also subject to Town of Needham zoning bylaw, Section 1.4.6, which tracks 40A, Section 6. And under both of those provisions, a pre-existing non-conforming structure can be altered, extended, changed, and enlarged if the extension, change, and enlargement is not substantially more detrimental than the existing structure. And in this case, and I'm going to actually put up the architectural plans in just a moment to point out, but I'm going to show you how we feel that the design is a very attractive design and is not substantially more detrimental. The house will continue to be used for single family purposes, just like the existing house, and its relationship generally to the adjacent lots and the neighborhood is not fundamentally or materially changed through the addition. So now let me.
Can you go back to the ADU for a second? Who is planning to reside in the ADU?
Sure. So the ADU is intended to be occupied by Eric's parents. They're older and they currently live in Needham, but they're getting to an age where living in the house will allow them some independence, but also proximity to Eric and his family to provide them with care and support.
And this may come from the architectural, how many motor vehicle parking spaces or garages do you have?
So there is no garage, but there is ample room. Let me put up the plot plan, and you can see. All right. So you can see on the plot plan here, there's a decent sized circular driveway coming off a High Street, which provides for room for multiple cars. And then there's also a driveway on this side of the house that provides space for at least 2, maybe 3 vehicles.
Thank you, George.
George, actually, would you mind just, and John, that was good to hone in a little bit on the ADU. Tell us a little about the access of the ADU to the primary dwelling.
Absolutely. And actually, so I was
And
I'm
the
gonna
two
walk
needs
you
to
through
do
that.
this.
I'm gonna walk you through that with the floor plans.
Did you
Excellent.
get the software from last month's application? It was very useful.
And it only cost $10,000.
I thought it was fabulous, but anyway.
All right. All right, so I'll do the floor plan first, and then we'll go back to the elevations. So this bottom area, I don't know, can you see my cursor?
Yep,
Yes.
Okay, good. Just because I had an issue on one where they couldn't see it. So this bottom side here, this is the High Street side of the property. And then this here is the Burnside side of the property. So, so the, basically the house is going to have a new doorway on the Burnside side that comes in here to a mudroom area. And then through the mudroom area, you come into this hallway. And off of this hallway, there's a doorway that goes into the ADU here. Right? So on the first floor, this is the entry point for the ADU. Then on the second floor, there's a new bathroom that's being added off of this living space here. And there's a hallway that accesses the bathroom. And there's a doorway here that accesses the upper living area for the ADU on the second floor. And then last, here's the exterior door on the first floor that I mentioned out the southerly end of the house to a little landing and a couple of steps.
So
Is
George,
there-
just to clarify, where your tongue is, that's the exterior means of egress one, and then the second one was to go back to where you came through the main body of the house?
Yes, so there's a entry on the first floor here. Oh, sorry, here, right? Into the hallway on the first floor, right by the door to the outside, the entry door.
Excellent.
And then on the
Okay.
second floor, there's another one here, which would lead through this living space and then this stairway down to the first floor here, which presumably would then exit you out the front door out to the High Street side.
Thank you.
George, that entrance by the mudroom right now, is that an existing entrance or is that a to be created entrance?
So there is an existing entrance there, but this is all going to be reconstructed. So basically, really what you see is a, this whole end of the house kind of is getting redone. And let me just go up to the elevation so you can kind of see here. So really, well, it's not really the whole entrance, but this piece here, right, along with really the second floor piece here is all new. And then there's a little roof going in above the existing entryway to provide access to provide cover to go in that.
That existing right now is what used to be the garage that was converted, correct?
No, the garage that was converted is in this area here.
Got it.
And let me actually stop this for a minute. I'm going to show you some photos, and it may help you understand better and orient you to the house a bit better. Okay. Right, so here, this is actually not the property. This here is the adjacent property at 12 Burnside. This over here is the garage, and this is the photo from 1949 from the assessors, right? So it shows the garage, and you can see this is the house at 69 High Street, and you can see the garage right close to it, all right? You can't see, you can't tell really what's going on between, which is why there was a question about that I ran down.
Yeah, but by the way, it looks like it's within 10 feet anyhow, so.
It is, it's within 10 feet of the house, and it was 5 feet off the line, so it's,
So even if it wasn't connected under our precedent, we would treat it as part of the house.
right. And well, the only thing is the bylaw in 49 was a little bit different, but in any event, here we have 1985 from the assessors. You can see they took a photo here. The garage door has been replaced with windows, and you can clearly see the roof attachment, the piece that basically connected the garage to the main body of the house. And so it's kind of tough to, actually, maybe the next one. Yeah, no, that doesn't show it well. So Nick, to answer your question, the existing entry is kind of over in this area, and the new second floor is kind of going up in here. This is all getting filled in, all this open space here.
Great. Thank you, George.
All right, and I just want to show you too, Again, it's interesting. This is 2011. You can see here, this is that garage piece with the windows. And I think I gave you a both that photo as well as the 1949 photo that you can compare, and it's eerie to see I mean, you can really tell that it's in the same, it's the same built structure in the same location when you put them side by side. All right, so now let me go back to the drawings. All right, so now that you've seen the photo, you can understand a little better. So right now that garage area is in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little entryway in here. And so this basically is all new. And what the cars want to do is actually, because this is an old, you know, basically was a slab garage, it's not in great nick, is basically rebuild the whole thing to get better construction quality, rather than trying to add a second floor on top of a piece that was likely moved over in 1949. And but this is, so you see the front elevation will not change. The left elevation changes with the addition of the work here. So right now, this is actually a sloped roof that kind of slopes away. So this will be a new look. And then you can see this is on the rear. You can see here basically the second story, which is going in above the garage area, or what was the garage area. Right, and then the other addition that comes in here. All right, so you should have, I'm not sure if, I know Daphne got them late this afternoon, but there were 3 letters of support that were submitted, and most notably, one of the letters of support was from the neighbor at 12 Burnside, which is on that, basically the abutter directly behind the southerly end of the house where all this work is taking place. There's also letters of support from the 2 neighbors on High Street as well.
Question, please?
Yes.
George, on the plan, the one thing that jumped out at 1.6 feet, is it some type of an exterior exit on the plan in the south?
That is to the landing and steps.
Is that permissible? So close to the boundary?
It is. Landings, as long as they're not side landings, as long as they're not more than 20 square feet and don't project more than, I think, 5 feet from the house, don't count for zoning purposes. You may remember, Howard, that was something that went into, the bylaw had to get changed because when Dan Walsh was the building inspector, he took the position that basically landings and steps were part of the house and they had to comply with setback requirements. And so the bylaw had to be explicitly changed to address that, and that landings up to a certain size, you know, basically reasonable customary landings, were not considered part of the house for setback purposes.
That's on the revised definition of landings.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, let me go through the comments we have. I mean, the building commissioner wrote a paragraph, but he indicated no objection. So I interpret his comment to say he has no objection. The planning board said, make sure the building commissioner ensures that the ingress and access applies with the building code. And we'll leave that up to him, but seems to me there are 3 entrances, so it's probably fine. Town engineer notes you may need to comply with the stormwater when you seek a building permit. And the health department points out you need a demolition permit and pest control while working on all of this. Let me, just before we open this up to the public, just run through my usual ADU checklist to remind all of us. It must be subordinate in size to the principal dwelling. I think it is. It must be self-contained with provisions for living, sleeping, cooking, and eating. That's reported that it is. It must maintain the appearance and essential characteristics of a single-family house. At least as far as I'm concerned, I think it's fully integrated. One unit must be occupied by the owner, and the other must be used by a family member, or that's in compliance. total occupancy, the ADU can't exceed 5 unrelated persons. Size can't exceed 850 feet. It has to be attached to the principal dwelling. Parking space for the ADU and the principal dwelling. What about sewerage? I take it it's all connected to town sewer,
Yes,
George? Yes.
yes.
Entrances can't detract from the single family appearance. You need 2 entrances for the ADU, and here we have 3. There has to be an interior doorway between units, and we have that. All stairways must be enclosed, we have that. And the special permit does not transfer with ownership of the property. And also, as Mr. Junt is aware, the board, when we approve the ADU, imposes a condition that upon the written request of the building commissioner, the owner must provide evidence that the ADU is being, and the principal dwelling are being occupied in accordance with the bylaw. In the event the owner fails to provide evidence to the building commissioner within 30 days, he may revoke the special permit for an ADU. Any such revocation will be subject to appeal to the ZBA in accordance with the appeal of other decisions of the building commissioner, and we will add that as a condition. Is there anyone from the public who wants to be heard, Daphne?
There are no hands raised from those who are attending.
All right, are we ready?
Well, I think we want to just discuss pre-existing non-conforming component, not just the ADU. I'm convinced you have established the pre-existing non-conformity, and you have the saving statute enacted in 16. So I think we meet those requirements for the issuance of the special permits.
Well, one thing that bothered me a little bit is part of the new house is not going to comply with the setback requirement. But I take it that there was some recent case law that says, in effect, we could ignore the sentence in the zoning bylaw that says there can't be a horizontal extension. Is that right, George?
That's right. And if you actually look at that language is specific. It references back to the section, and that section specifically deals with compliant for additions and so on that are compliant, that can be done by right. This doesn't fall within that section. It falls within a separate section. And I know that has come up previously with the board, and this is no different than some of the prior cases.
Yeah, but it does require a section 6 finding.
Right, exactly.
For the record, what's the name of the case?
PLV Gloucester.
Thank you.
I've sent it to you twice.
No, I have it,
Peter.
not in front of me. It should have been filed with the application.
All right, any more questions?
Question, George, are you looking for 2 specific findings for special permits, the 146 and the ADU 321?
Yes, it's actually technically it's 2 separate special permits. Because it's under 2 separate provisions.
All right, someone want to make a motion?
John, you want to give it a shot?
No, I did the last ADU. I think it's up for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, move that the applicant's request for 2 special permits, one pursuant to 1.46 to change, extend, alter, or enlarge an existing lawful pre-existing non-conforming structure, and 2, the second special permit under section 3.21 and 3.15 for an accessory dwelling unit be allowed, and that the applicant comply with the appropriate drainage requirements and regulations. And what was the issue the building commissioner was asking about the I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What was the other piece that we wanted
Well,
to add?
I think the other thing is the provision that I mentioned about responding to the building commissioner's request about who's occupying the unit. And I think with respect to the 1.4.6 permit, we ought to make it explicit that it can be no closer, no construction can be any closer to the lot line than the existing structure.
Right, so I adopt all those amendments that John just presented.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Nice
very
job.
much.
It's a nice finished product when it's all done. Hey,
Like,
have a
we're-
nice, oh, actually, we have more coming.
We're very
Right.
excited. This is a third generation of, including my kids, coming into this town. So my parents will be very excited that they get to stay in this town with their grandkids and their son. So I appreciate all your time and effort.
Thank you. Happy holiday.
Fantastic. Happy Thanksgiving. And George, all I was saying is Peter's may not be here for a meeting and we don't have this treasure trove of SJC and appeals court decisions.
Just make sure he puts together a little primer for you before he leaves.
This is the only one that I keep in the file.
And it's funny because I went and did a quick review to see what cases have come down on the 2016 revision to 40A Section 7, and there've been a couple out of land court, but nothing too earth shattering.
All
But
right.
I didn't look at the Gale case again.
Right, so Daphne, I don't think we have any other business for tonight, do we?
Yeah, we do. We have, I'm just going to mention a little bit about the Viewpoint Cloud system that we are transitioning the application process to an electronic filing system. The town back in, before COVID has a whole policy of going onto what's called Viewpoint Cloud, which is to have all the town's departments that have an application process to apply electronically. And the health department got online, the town managers got online, and then COVID hit. And the next department that was online was the building department. And they went on fast track and they were able to get the whole process. It really moved them faster. And then the building department is completely electronic. It went electronic during COVID, like in March, and they have been electronic. And we've all been reviewing the projects electronically for building permits. And if any of them have a ZBA, I automatically get clued in and I have to approve whether, all their stuff is online in terms of have they registered with the Registry of Deeds or whatever other things that you guys need that you had conditioned to the application. So that's already going on. That's already happening with the building department. The next department that was to go online to us is the planning department. And as you know, there's 3 or 4 divisions in our department. And of course, CBA, we're the first ones out. So since March, I have been working with IT to get the application process for Zoning Board of Appeal applications, getting them ready. We hope to be launched either in January or the first quarter of 2023. One of the requirements that when working with the IT person who's brilliant and has gotten all those other departments online, one of the things that I said to her, the application has to look like the application that we have now. There has to be some document that gets clocked in with the town clerk, and that the information that gets retrieved will produce an application, because your rules and regs specifically talk about this application for a public hearing. So she did design it. Now what's going to happen is all the applicants will be uploading all their applications, and what will happen is seamlessly all the applications that have this address will be tied in with the building department, and so and all the reviewers will also be online. So the police chief, the fire chief, planning board, the health department, as you already are seeing, the health department saying, please apply electronically for the demolition permit. Well, that's because they've already been online for 3 or 4 years. So all of us will be tied in. And it will happen seamlessly. My concern, of course, was you guys and making sure that for those of you, we will still require the applicants to submit the 5 copies for you and for staff, but everything else will all be online. Everything will be online. So I just kind of wanted to bring you on board. I think we may actually also, I don't know, it could be, the health department has a commission, but I don't know if any applications go before their commission to be reviewed. But I think you will be the first board, an outside board that is reviewing online applications. So there's two sides to the application process. There's the applicant who puts all their application online, and then there's the backside where I'll be reviewing it. And then after they apply, there's also the whole review process internally will be all online. A lot of communities have this already, and they've been, it's very successful in a lot of other communities. So we're not the first, but it's the way it's happening. So I just wanted to kind of bring you on board.
Is it going to change the way we process applications? I take it you're still going to send out plans and maybe print out the applications and the other materials?
Yes, there will be, like right now you have right now when I send you an electronic copy, you will actually be able to go online and see the applications, but we will get all the plans just as you're getting it, because you charged me. You've been very clear about wanting both types. And has that changed? Are any of you going, I don't want paper?
I don't want paper ever.
Okay. Oh, okay.
What about, but the plans are so tiny.
Well, so the question really is the plans. So how are they just doing a PDF, an electronic version of the plans, and then bringing you paper plans?
Everybody, in terms of the building department, they're only dealing with electronic plans. And our plans, generally, you can, if you want to see a plan, you can see it as well when I send you guys your electronic versions. But yes, we will make them, have them send plans for you guys.
But Daphne,
And
what
also
happens
if they're
when-
large ones, if they're large, complicated ones, absolutely.
What happens when we're back in person, obviously?
That is something, the planning board, they get everything electronically, and they are meeting in person as well as, this hybrid. And they apparently are bringing in their laptops. So, but I can look more into that.
The city of Boston gave all the ZBA members laptops. Just
Yeah,
saying.
that's how it is in most communities. Most communities have, once they go online, their board members are given, either laptops or Kindle type of things.
Chromebooks.
Pardon me?
Chromebooks, the cheap
Yeah,
ones.
Chromebooks or iPads or
Even a
whatever.
smaller screen.
Pardon me?
Even they have even smaller screens than my laptop.
Yeah, exactly. Some of you,
Well,
yeah. So,
one thing is, please, when you have a chance, review our rules
yes.
to see if we can change them, see if we need to change anything in terms of what we say there.
That has been one of the things that I told the IT person, that this is sacred, the rules and regs.
Well, no, but the rules
No,
can be,
but it can
the
be
rules can be changed.
Absolutely. But when we were starting to work, I go, this is what needs to be there. This is what is said. And especially since that application, we have the application and it's specific. So all of that was taken into account. And I'm really surprised what she was able to produce. It looks like our application. The other thing too, is I have been working I also set up so that the comprehensive permit is also involved, because the demands for that are very different. There's different requirements. And so that whole process, it's already, we already set up the beta for that based on all the requirements for a 40B. So thank God we had the 1180 Great Plain, where I had the experience and I had I had created checklists for that project. So it was really, I was able to go ahead and put all the reviewers, like for instance, we're going to have historic review and all of those we have, you know, those additional reviews that are required by 40B. So just wanted to, it's been pretty, yeah, it's been challenging, but thank God for the IT person who has been assigned to this. And of course, we're the, she has so many successful departments. It's really nice to have somebody with her depth, and she's retiring in November. So I really wanted to be right on top of it to make sure that we would get on with her.
So a couple things, Daphne. I think
Yes.
we can and we should be looking at our rules to change them. It looks like we're gonna be electronic at some point. And so the issue of having both paper and electronic seems nonsensical. I understand there's a need in some certain circumstances to look at really large scale plans. I think the application process, even though you've done such a hard job to make it look like our rules can change. My concern is we're going in person in March, right? So there has to be the next person who's coming in for IT, sort of, we have to understand where that's going to be fairly soon, or you're printing everything twice, you know.
Well, I don't print them.
I know.
The applicant does.
I know.
And no matter what, there is one department that still is old school and will be the last to go on, and that's the town clerk's office. So no matter what, applicants for ZBA as well as planning board, where they have to go to the town clerk and clock in, that will still be there. So they need to have a document, and in our case, it's the application for hearing, which in your rules of regs. But
That will change at some point too.
it will, but she will be the last department, or not, you know, gender neutral. I mean, that department, town clerk's office, will be the last one on. So in that sense, we will still need paper for that particular filing. And so if that happens, then we can have the 5. Right now I require 7. One for
even the recorded variance or special permit, we don't give variances. Those are e-filed, e-recorded in most places now, so you don't have to have.
They still to apply for to come before the zoning board of appeal. They still they have to go to the town clerks. That's a requirement, whether it's electronic in other communities or whether it's paper. But here,
No, I'm just saying you're going through this whole process, spending millions of dollars to do this. The process will be all electronic at some point. I mean,
correct.
Rather than later.
Yeah, and it's kind of good. I think we're kind of in the first wave, but really if the building department is able to do it seamlessly, it's pretty amazing. Like I don't give any paper to Dave.
I'm looking forward to my new laptop.
I will mention that.
And donuts.
Donuts, donuts.
Yeah,
have-
For that matter, just like town meeting.
Daphne, on another subject, just tell us where we stand on 1180, the 40B at the Congo Church.
From what, right now it's going through the permitting process for their building permit. So it's being reviewed by the engineering, the actual construction documents. So that's where it's at. It's in.
I've issued a letter to the building inspector indicating that they've complied with the terms of the special permit in terms of filing a regulatory agreement and imposing a perpetual affordable provision on those affordable apartments. And so, yeah, so now the building inspector and the other departments are looking and they're working on a building permit.
Correct. As soon as the building permit is issued, I will be informed. Again, it's all electronic, so I am informed. And I will inform all you when the building permit is issued, just to let you know, just kind of an FYI. Because we also have to provide that to our housing person so that the SHI, which is the housing units, the affordable housing units are recorded. So, you know, we stay at the 10%. So all those recorded numbers. And as soon as the building permit's issued, the town can claim those units.
Well, we're well over the 10%, but it's nice. It's just nice to have more affordable units. We need them in the town.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, everybody, happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
volunteer for 12 Clark Road.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
When are we
How-
meeting next?
Howard,
Daphne?
Howard, do you want to do the ADU?
Be delighted to. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
When are we meeting next?
We
yeah,
are
December
meeting
the-
next
good
December
question.
15th, and I will know on November 23rd, whether we have applications or not.
As of now,
Uh,
nothing?
Pardon me?
As
As of now, generally, I don't, at this time, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I sometimes have, I just haven't I haven't been working with anybody for an application, but I haven't heard, but you know, sometimes at the last moment, George, are you going to tell us you have an application in December?
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
okay.
I actually had two that were circling, but one is completely gone and one may be gone as well. So
There you go. So we may, you know, we'll know on the 23rd whether you're meeting in December.
Motion to postpone December meeting to January.
I'm also going to be off next week, so just wanted to let you know. And I'll be
Happy
back on
Thanksgiving.
Monday. Yes, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
All right.
Have a good
Bye,
one. Best to
guys.
see everybody.
All right, so we're
Bye-bye.
adjourned. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Virgin.
Thank you.
Take care.
What's going on with my-
Right.